Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Dylan Silver, and today on the show, it's my privilege, it's a pleasure to have a real estate securities law specialty, syndicating expert, and has 20 years of experience prior to become a real estate attorney. He was an experienced syndicator for 20 years. Gene Trowbridge out of Southern California. Gene, welcome to the show.
Hi, Dylan. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show here. Before hopping on, we were chatting about your experience and your background before becoming a real estate attorney. You became an attorney in your mid-40s.
45, that's right. I had had enough of the being a syndicator part of the business, where we were primarily building self-storage facilities in Southern California, building them, getting them about 10 or 20% occupied, then selling them. That was my business. And I've been doing it a long time, so I've been through a number of bad down cycles and great up cycles in the syndication business. And 93 and 94 was another bad cycle for real estate. And I just decided that I'd done that long enough. And so with a wife who was working and 2 kids in grade school, I went off to, on a part-time basis, go to law school. And I finished in 3 years and passed the bar. And ever since then, all I've been doing is the legal work. About 30 years actually this year. So
how was it going to law school at that time? You mentioned you got so much experience, and you're probably a little bit older than some of the people that were going to school, and you're also going to law school part-time, so you may be sometimes trying to muster up the energy to get everything done. Was it a difficult process?
It was the only time in my life I was really a good student. I had a motivation. Number one, I had to borrow some money to pay for my law school tuition. And if I didn't pass the bar, it would have been wasted, because no one wants, JD is an attorney, that's great. I could have gone to work for someone else, but I never could have opened my own practice, which was what I wanted to do, because I've always been independent. I've never had a W-2 job in my life. Okay.
Wow.
So the issue is to start my own firm. So I had to succeed. And so I was motivated, and I was a good student, but that wasn't unusual. The law school I went to had a lot of young people who couldn't get into other schools, so they went there, and I'm not sure how motivated they were, but there was a whole group of us in our 30s and 40s who were going to go off and start this as a second career. Just for a second, my study group was a woman who was a nurse who wanted to go into medical law for some reason. There was a cop who wanted to be a prosecutor. There was a book author who wanted to be an IP, intellectual property attorney. And then there was a real estate syndicator who wanted to be a real estate syndicator attorney. So we were all looking to change careers into something that we already knew,
Ew.
but use what we knew to work on our legal profession.
On a
So
much
we all
smaller
passed the bar the first time. We all
First
passed the
time.
bar the first time, yeah.
Was this in Southern California that you
Yes,
initially got?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, on a much smaller level, I can relate because I was and am still a real estate wholesaler, and I was thinking about.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
My career path and what I was going to do, and real estate wholesale, you're selling a contract during the executory period of the contract, and I'm always dealing with real estate agents, and they kind of didn't like dealing with, in many cases, investors and wholesalers, and they're kind of like, well, we don't want to have to deal with you. Right. So I was thinking in the back of my mind, like, how do I overcome this? How do I beat this fatigue that they're facing? I could never figure it out. So finally I just threw my hands up and I'll be like, well, I guess I'll become a real estate agent. And I wasn't, and still am not particularly passionate, maybe this will change, about listing properties and so on and so forth. But I just kind of saw an angle and I was like, well, how many real estate agents are out there that are actually doing what I'm doing and that are working with investors every day? And so on another level, now that I have my real estate license, and we're always, interacting with title companies, and specifically what I'm doing, working with investors, coming up with creative deals, having to pay attorneys for, writing contracts that are very specific. It made me think, well, I understand why people get curious about real estate law here, because just like I got curious about becoming a real estate agent, I bet there's a lot of realtors out there who are looking at these real estate attorneys thinking, oh, well, maybe that's going to be me someday.
Well, it might be. The real estate industry is a great industry full of absolutely wonderful people. I became a broker in 1972, and I'm still a broker now. I'm a broker in California. I keep my license current. I still am active in going to the right type of meetings where the topic that they're going to talk about is interesting to me. And as I said, the people are just spectacular, very people-oriented people, I'll tell you that.
That's for sure. I think it's incredible because I've never seen another space. I think it's very unique to real estate where you'll walk into rooms and people will just be an open book. Like I've even questioned, like, I feel like I should be paying this person to tell me all this stuff. We're here at like a cocktail hour and they're giving me all of the game. They're not hiding any gold nuggets from me. They're just telling me everything. But
yeah,
then
I hardly ever go to bar meetings. I do things virtually with the bar to learn, to study topics that I'm interested in. But getting up and going to a bar luncheon just sounds like getting a root canal, I'll tell you. So.
I enjoy it. It's not as tedious for me, but I will say, because I've had so many of these podcasts done, and then also now I'm seeing the way Zoom and Google Meets will integrate into your calendar, it's just entirely possible to make so many connections just through utilizing your calendar through digital.
Right.
You mentioned, Gene, before we hopped on here, that you've been involved with some pretty well-known syndications. and that there's really only a handful of people out there who are doing what you're doing on the level that you're doing it at, in the niche that you're doing it at. For most people who are thinking about creating a real estate syndication, again, without giving away all the gold, Gene, what's maybe some of the first processes or the foundational things that they need to do to get started with a real estate syndication?
Well, the first thing I think they need to do is they need to understand that it's a security, and you're moving away from real estate law when you put together groups of investors. You become a syndicator when you don't have enough money to buy all the real estate you want to buy yourself, and you need to look for other people's equity, put together a group to buy the real estate. Well, that takes you into the securities world.
Okay.
So first of all, you have to understand that. And there are a lot of myths out there about, well, if you have less than 5 people, or if it's family and friends, or all that. Make any difference. Find yourself a securities attorney to guide you on the way so you don't go to jail.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
That would be the thing to do, right?
That would be the thing to do, because the securities laws it's a criminal statute, so we need to do it right.
So I've actually had, I want to say, at least one, possibly a handful of syndicators on the show here. There was a lady that I spoke with out of Houston, Texas. I believe she had a syndication. And one of the interesting things that I think about is there's so many, and as a former real estate syndicator yourself, there's so many ways to start a real estate business and to get capital together. You can bootstrap it, you can apply for loans, you can raise capital, you can do syndications. I just had a woman on the podcast here today who was talking about she helps people establish their business credit so that each LLC that they own has a line of credit established to it that's separate from their personal credit. And in kind of walking down these pathways between raising capital versus real estate syndication, how is a person able to decide, what's the best path for me?
Well, there really is no path. The fact of the matter is, if I raised money from you, just you, Dylan, and we went out to buy something, and I said, I'll be in charge. I'll put up 10%, you put up 90%, and I'll do everything. That's a security. It's as simple as that, because in plain language, the security rule says it's an investment of money in a common enterprise with an expectation of profit run by the promoter. So you would invest money in an LLC. I'd invest my money in an LLC. There's the investment of money in a common enterprise. We're doing it because we think there's going to be a profit, and I'm in charge of your money. So the government has a vested interest in making sure I do things right and you're protected.
So even in informal situations where someone may be, you mentioned, pooling money together, unless this person's on the name of the LLC, it's a security on some level.
Well, if you do your own LLC, it's not a security, but as soon as you take money from other people and you're in charge. Now, you and I could do something together, and let's stay with the same scenario where you're putting up 90% and I'm putting up 10. But we decide to call it a member managed security. So there's no manager, there's no promoter. It's just the two of us. As long as we vote equally.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
You don't have a security. If when we vote, because you have 90% of the money, you're the one making all the decisions, well,
Yeah.
there you are, you're in charge of my money. So now it's a security. You can have a 10% equity contribution, that's fine. But on major decisions, there's 2 equal votes and nothing happens unless it's unanimous. No one is in charge of anyone else's money. And then that falls apart pretty quickly when you have 10 people, right?
When you have 10 people.
It
I was
just
just about to
doesn't
ask,
happen.
is
3
there,
people.
I mean, I was just about to ask that. Could you have, 7 people in that? But then if you need unanimity, if you need a unanimous vote, it's
Doesn't-
kind of
right.
hard to get 7 people to agree on anything.
And most of the investors don't want to do it. They don't know about it. They don't know what you know about real estate. They don't want to be in charge of the property. And the other investors don't want them to be in charge of the property. They want you to be in charge of the property. So that's one of the things you're selling. It's really a people business, Dylan. Yes, it's great to have a piece of real estate that you're going to buy, but it's really a people business. How does the promoter work with the investors? And does the promoter convey the fact that what we have here is an opportunity? The promoter's found an opportunity that for one reason or another he's not going to take or she's not going to take all to themselves. So she goes out and finds investors who'd like to be part of this opportunity. And how you get started to do your first deal is you go and talk to the people who know that you're successful in your business. And they probably would love to be part of one of your deals if you just told them about it.
That's
Okay?
proof of
If you
concept.
keep it a secret, it doesn't work. No, so that's the way that goes. And that's how I got started. I found a deal that I couldn't buy myself, and I found 4 guys that I'd gone to college with and called them up and said, let's buy this apartment building in St. Paul together, and we did, and a career was made.
Now, when people are coming to you with, they're looking at forming a syndication. I mean, just learned a couple things here on the show here right now, talking about, securities law is criminal, right? So if you could end up in jail if you're doing the wrong thing.
Bernie Madoff.
Yeah.
Bernie Madoff, the Wolf of Wall Street. There are thousands of stories out there that end up in the paper where people have violated the securities laws.
So most people, I think, when they're thinking about real estate syndications, they're not thinking about Wall Street, but because it's a similar or maybe the same area of law or related, you could get into equivalent issues. So is this something kind of that you're advising people of before they think about making a syndication?
Especially when I get what I call as a homework call. The most common homework call I get, Dylan, is, Gene, I want to put together 5 or 6 people to buy this building, and I don't want it to be a syndication. Well, that's a bad question, because 2 or more people, by definition, is a syndication. The question is, really, they don't want it to be a security. So we have to go through the process. Who's going to be in charge of the money? Are you going to get paid for being in charge of the money? Is this a profitable venture that you're expecting to share with people? Well, then it's a security. And so they need to understand that. And then we need to get started. And Wall Street versus what we do. Wall Street is public offerings. They're in the newspaper. They get coverage by the press. They talk about what they're doing. The private placement world is different. Every security needs to be registered with the SEC Dylan, unless it's exempt. And so that's the area in which I work, in exempt securities. There are rules that make it so darn easy to get started in the securities business if you work in the exempt field. But let me just give you some facts. Last year, in the exempt world of private placements, there was over $3 trillion raised. In the public world, IPOs, initial public offerings, last year, 1.5 trillion. The business is in the private placement world where you don't have to go to Wall Street. Now, if you're going to raise $100 billion, you have to go to Wall Street because you have to advertise. You have to make it public. But if you're raising $6 million, you can do it privately. You don't need to advertise. I mean, there are ways that you can, and it's still a private offering, but this is the business. This is where money is raised for small businesses in the United States. And if you read all about it, businesses with 500 employees or less is small business. That's the heart of our economy, and this is where the equity comes from in our world, private placements. And as we talked about, I've done professional hockey team, I've done racehorses, a stable of racehorses, I've done avocado groves, I've done medical equipment that now needs to be produced and sold. I helped a guy do a chain of hair salons where he went in and rented real estate from someone else and needed to do all the fixtures. So there's all sorts of, and lending. I mean, you might be interested. I've done some lending offerings where the people are doing, it's not really a loan, it's an advance. You come to me with your receivables, I give you some money on your receivables, and then as you receive payment on your receivables, you pay me back.
Yeah.
I've done that, and just lending, bridge loans to people who are flipping houses.
Now,
Things like that.
with exempt security, this is kind of mind-blowing to me. So I'm unaware until right now, and I think most people are unaware who are on the outside looking in, that exempt securities are, you said, 3 trillion versus IPOs 1 trillion.
1.5 trillion, twice as much.
Twice as much. It's a huge difference. So when people are talking about private equity, and when people are talking about, these large groups coming in and, doing mergers and acquisitions and this type of thing,
Two different worlds.
Two different worlds entirely.
Yeah, two different worlds. Mergers and acquisitions are probably in the public realm, okay, and other things are in the private realm. Now, just because it's private doesn't mean it's always small. The details from the SEC will tell you that the median of private placements, the median is about 5 million. So half of them are over 5 million and half of them are under 5 million. And there's in the 60 or 70,000 number of offerings every year. So there are a lot of small offerings. We've done offerings up to 130 million, and we've done offerings as low as 350,000. So there's quite a range. But our business, most of the people who do business like me, the 4 or 5 of us are out there, are raising, maybe working with clients who raise less than 10 million each time.
I want to get granular here, and don't give away all the gold, Gene, but maybe give away some of it. When folks talk about private money and talk about raising, tens of millions or $100 million, I'm imagining that now that I'm aware of exempt securities, that in many cases that could be from a syndication of some kind that is an exempt security, which is the source of the private money.
Mm-hmm. And then so, private money is often thought of as friends and family. You've heard that term, friends and family. Okay, private money, everyone who invests is known to you before you start raising your money. And there's 2 avenues in private money since the Jobs Act. One avenue is everyone who invests with you had a pre-existing relationship with you before you started raising that money. That doesn't mean they're friends and family. It just means that they know you ahead of time. The Jobs Act in 2012 came along and said, yeah, but there are a lot of really rich people, there are a lot of accredited investors out there who need to find these good deals and want to be able to invest in these deals. And if they're friends and family, they'll never find them because there's no advertising. So they came out with another rule, a secondary rule that says, okay, you can advertise. And you see it now on the web all the time, people saying 15% IRR in a mobile home park in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And you're wondering, why is that on the web? Well, that's this new plan that allows you to advertise. And when you advertise, you take people you don't know. Well, there's some specific rules about that. You can imagine that the rules are going to be more severe if the government says you're raising money from people that you don't know and they don't know you, as opposed to if you're raising money from people with whom you have a relationship with. You can imagine there's two sets of rules, and there
The
are.
penalties are going to be more severe when there's it's like completely arm's length and it's more or less a stranger to you versus someone who has face-to-face contact with you or can, knock on your door.
The biggest problem in the securities laws is fraud and misrepresentation.
So
that's what you need to do. You need to be careful of.
So when I'm thinking about that, in a syndication and whoever is managing the syndication, of course, their interest is in making sure that everyone doesn't lose their money and then make sure that they make money.
Sure.
So when they're going and investing in, let's call it a startup. We're in real estate, so let's say it's a real estate startup. I've been a part of real estate startups. There's a lot of pressure on the people who are involved in the real estate startups. But that also, and we sometimes think, well, it's on our level, it's because we're small and we're having to make sure that the investors are happy with our performance. But there's also, in that same scenario, there's a lot of pressure on the syndicator itself, or him or herself, to make sure that what they're investing in is profitable as well. Because if their neck is on the line if things go south. So I think a lot of times, and I'm thinking about this right now, when you're starting a business and you're looking at taking on maybe private money or these external capital, we think about the pressure that we're going to be under, but the syndicator itself is under some pressure in those situations as well.
Oh, absolutely. And I've said in this conversation, the reason you become a syndicator is you don't have enough money to buy all the real estate you'd like to buy yourself. So the number one thing a syndicator needs to do is to find a deal that they would buy themselves, underwrite it, do all the due diligence and say, if I had the money, I'd buy this. I don't, let's find some other investors and share the opportunity. If you found a deal that you said, well, that really isn't something for me, well, don't syndicate it. That's one of the biggest problems a syndicator has, is one of the biggest mistakes, I guess, is that when you syndicate deals, you make money. So you don't want to go 6, 7, 8 months without syndicating a deal because your flow of income to you has just dried up. And that's a problem that syndicators have. They always think they have to have something out there to sell. They don't.
Yeah, because then that's how you lose money, and that's not a situation you want to be in as a syndicator.
Right.
Gene, we are coming up on time here. Where can folks go maybe to get in contact with you or to reach out to you?
Okay. My website it's very simple. It's, of course, www, and then it's T as in Tom, N as in Nancy, LLP.com, TNLLP.com. And on that website, you can schedule a free consultation with me, right? You can get a free PDF of my book, and I'm going to show it on the screen here. This book is called It's a Whole New Business. And I'm in the 4th edition of this book. It gets changed every time there's a securities law change. And this is really a very good self-starter book for anyone who wants to be a syndicator. And on my website, you can get a free PDF of the book. You can buy it on Amazon if you want, or you can listen to my Audible version on Amazon. And the title is It's a Whole New Business. And the reason, Dylan, it's called that is when I wrote it first, I wrote it strictly for real estate agents so that they understood when they were going out and putting groups of people to buy these deals that they liked, that they were leaving the real estate business and going into the securities business. And the securities business doesn't care what the asset is. Doesn't care at all. The securities business is a people business. How do you raise money from people? How do you treat people fairly? And that's what the securities world is, not whether you're doing a hockey team or an avocado grove or anything. That's nothing like that. So that's how you can get me. My website, tnllp.com. Sign up for a free consultation. Call the website and they'll put you through to me directly. And the number's on the website, so that's fine.
Gene, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I appreciate having you on and talking with us about real estate syndications and your journey in the space.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks. And good luck to you as you continue on with Real Estate Pros. It's good for you.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.